What's going on, guys? Battle Nexus issue 4. We see we're going to have Donnie fighting Metalhead. This has been a series that, for the most part, has been fairly decent. I think I rated it about a 7 out of 10 series. Just mostly it's a fun way to have all your like Ninja Turtle action figures just smashed together. That's basically how I've summed it up. So just to kind of give us a quick recap for anybody who's not aware of the story so far. Savanti has taken over the Battle Nexus planet, or dimension rather, and has warped all of our current day turtles in, among other versions of turtles, and is having them fight all sorts of enemies. So round 1 was Leonardo against the original version of Shredder. Round 2 was Raph versus Alopex. And now we're on to round 3, and like I said, Donnie Metalhead. So basically, round 1, Shredder beat Leonardo. Round 2, Alopex and Raph had a case of the gigs and decided to go ahead and we called it a draw, and Savanti just banished them both to the prison dimension. And so Donnie has put together that he was going to go against Metalhead, and that we're also likely going to see Mikey versus Slash, which, spoiler alert, that is going to be the next setup. So let's just get right on into it. So our script is Caleb Gollinger, and Omar Francia is our artist, and both done a pretty decent job. I'm going to have some issues as we go along here. So the story opens up, and we're just seeing how Metalhead came to be in Savanti's control. He goes into one dimension. It's not really specific as to which one, but we do know that this is a Metalhead built by Donnie. He goes in, commends Donnie on the work, and then goes ahead and puts a spell on Metalhead, and then has a series of fights for him in which Metalhead is getting more knowledge and becoming a better fighter in that regard. We then fast forward to current day, and we see Donnie and Metalhead just kind of sizing up one another. And here's a nice shot of Metalhead just kind of looking at everything with Donnie. And before the fight starts, Donnie's just like, look, I already know, based on, who this is, what happened, I'm not going to be able to land, I'm not going to be able to touch him. And then we get a quick cut over to the stands, where Mikey's still in the wing, and I still feel that this is Mikey from Last Ronin. And then we see Alopex. Now she was banished into the back, but we're gonna see later on. Savanti gives like a quick word on his I separated the lovebirds, and why, for what reason? That to me tells me that Alopex is going to be playing a pretty pivotal role in Savanti's downfall, and the writers may be messed up because there's several writers. One had her go to the prison world, but they were like, oh shit, we need her at the end of this, so we need to take her back out. How are we going to do that? I don't know, just arbitrarily do that and just give a throwaway line like, I had to separate them. But why? So that doesn't make any sense. So to me, that just screams she's going to be very important going forward, and we need her in the Battle Nexus dimension for this. But Savanti, he's feeling really confident, and he's like, well, I could make it a more fair fight by just lowering Metalhead's defenses. And that, to me, is a problem, because the whole reason why we're here is Savanti wants to humiliate the turtles. Now, we saw in the previous issue during the Raph Alopex fight, Savanti was having a great time when Alopex was just wailing on Raph. He was actually more or less bored when Raph finally decided to start fighting back, and kind of annoyed by that. So why do the whole balancing thing? The whole thing was to humiliate the turtles. That was his whole point. And even Shredder's over here just like, that's kind of stupid. Don't do that. And he's like, never mind. I'm going to do it. Because what should I be afraid of? A fool with a a stick going up against a tank, something like that. He's just making fun of Donnie's weapon and just proceeds to, I guess, lower the defenses for Metalhead. So the two have it out, and we see Donnie, he keeps like just kind of poking and prodding at Metalhead. He's got some real deliberate jabs here. And he's got something cooking in there, and we're not entirely certain as to what it is right off the bat. But he does manage to hit the big glowing red circle on the top of Metalhead's head, and boop, he's off. So Donnie ends up winning this fight, and what he says is no Donatello would create a Metalhead without some sort of like failsafe or like a kill switch or what did he say, a factory reset. And so Alopex and Mikey are very happy about this. Savante's less than so, and this is where he says he separated the lovebirds. That's that throwaway line explaining why Alopex is now back here. And then he's like, well, I'm not going to do the same here, and then takes Donnie and Metalhead and puts them both in the prison world or dimension, whatever. Once again, the council is like giving some gripes, and he smacks another one, and we keep getting like little face reveals from different formats within like the Turtle multiverse. Also, Renette gives some more sass, and Savante also gives, like, you shouldn't do that. Don't test me, woman, kind of thing. And I do kind of wonder, you got Renette all chained up and prisoner. Why not just end her right there? Well, it's because we can't just get rid of her yet, because of course she's going to have a role to play as well. And so he's just content with just, I guess, humiliating her by watching all of her friends get beaten up. So Donnie and Metalhead get thrown into like the prison dimension, and you see like the portal, and Donnie makes note of that as well. And then sees his two brothers who'd already gotten thrown in there, plus a couple different variations. And we know at this point that no turtle has been able to beat any of Savante's like champions. So where is the rest of them? Where's the Michelangelos, like, at all? Why is there only one of each outside of the ones that we already have? This part doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but because this should be like a literal army of Ninja Turtles based on how we're hearing about it. Like, a lot of these turtles got beaten up. But what we're seeing is, but this also does kind of play into my, I bet that is Last Ronin Mikey that's still in the Battle Nexus, because it seems to have a 1-for-1 for each of the turtles, right? And I want to note that as we sit here and we see these 5 right here, this Donatello looks like shit. Like, and I'm not talking about Omar's art by any means. He's done a really good job. I'm just talking about the overall design. I forget which series this comes from. It's like Rise of the Mutants or something like that. I can't remember. I've never been attracted to these, and just having them stand by, like, especially the 03 cartoon, holy hell. Donnie looks like piss. Like, this sucks. Whoever designed this, man, just missed the mark completely. There's really nothing about it I like. I also am not a fan of his attitude. He's a little too cocky, and I just don't like that. So, moving on, because that's neither here nor there, but it's just seeing them all standing right here, you're just like, wow, he is easily the worst looking of them all. Easily. So, okay. So they all have a little get together and just kind of talk things over. Then they decide to kind of split up into pairs, all of our current day comic versions with their counterparts. And so they all get to kind of just put some wisdom into one another, right? Take out some wisdom, give some wisdom, all that kind of stuff. Of course, I enjoyed that both Raphaels wanted to go ahead and spar as opposed to just simply talk. And then Donnie's wanting to take a look at Metalhead and appreciate the ingenuity that goes in with that and stuff like that. And then as they all get into talking, realize that the versions who have been here prior to are already starting to kind of lose memory of things. And the one that was truly depressing to me was Leonardo. He's forgetting Splinter. And so current day Leonardo is just like, okay, look, I'm not going to sit here and wait for this place to destroy me. We got to find a way to get out. And so the two Donnies start talking like literal gibberish. Like I don't believe that we're meant to understand outside of what you're supposed to gather from this is big brain talk, right? They're talking equations, this, that, and the other. And so basically what they need to do is get a hold of Renette's scepter. And how do we do that? Well, we got to wait for that portal to open, and we need some tech. And Leo's like, well, here's some awesome equipment sitting over here. Can't we utilize that? And so the last scene we see in this book is, from this dimension, is them kind of eyeballing the disabled Metalhead. Cut back over to the Battle Nexus, and Shredder is just kind of really laying into Savanti about just how foolish he's being and how he should allow Shredder to just go ahead and finish all the turtles himself. Savanti wants to hear nothing of it and just says, all right, Slash versus Michelangelo. Like, all right, let's just get it going. Now, Mikey, just like his brothers before, wants nothing to do with this fight. Now, the others all got talked into fighting. So Savanti's just like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, whatever you say, buddy. You're the fourth one to say something similar, and you're going to be the fourth one to fight. And so we see Slash is getting ready to go. But Mikey has a lot more resolve. He's like, I won't lose another friend. And Slash is saying, I won't lose another family member. But Mikey throws out the nunchucks, and like he does kind of like Luke Skywalker in Return of the Jedi, like, you know, I'll never turn kind of thing. I'm throwing down the weapons. What happens happens kind of deal. So I'm really interested in where this is going, because this also says to be concluded. So I'm guessing next one is the final issue. So I want to see how this whole thing wraps up. But yeah, Mikey's truly not wanting to fight Slash. And, I mean, you look at the size difference between these two. Slash could easily just beat the piss out of Mikey without even breaking a sweat if Mikey's not going to fight back. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens between these two, being what their friendship was like in the original series. Now, from my understanding, I had it spoiled where Slash died. And I have not gotten to that part. Slash is still very much alive. He's still working with old Hob. I'm in, I believe, somewhere in the 60s. I've reached kind of a standstill as far as the IDW series is concerned. I'm somewhere in the 60s. That's as much as I remember, where Alopex and Raph are starting to show an interest in one another. There's like a relationship forming between them. Splinter is still alive and well. He's still head of the Foot Clan. Shredder's dead. And Jenica is still human. So that's where I'm at as far as all of that is concerned. So, but yeah, this one's definitely got some issues. Some things just not making a whole lot of sense. Like I said, when we go to the dimension, the prison dimension, where are the rest of the turtles? Why is there only 3 outside of our current comic versions? That just doesn't make any sense. There should be a lot more. Given all the information that we have right now, why is Savante acting so out of character? Why would he bring Alopex out? And for what reason? Like, you're separating the 2 lovebirds. Well, they're out of your dimension. What do you care? Like, that doesn't add up outside of, I'm pretty sure Alopex is needed for the final confrontation, and that's why she got pulled out. That was a writing error, and that was just the workaround on how to get her back out of the prison dimension and back into the Battle Nexus one. So we definitely have some issues. I enjoyed that we didn't just like poo-poo all over Donnie. He seems to be the favorite kind of punching bag for a lot of people. You know, it's like, oh, it's just a guy with a stick. Well, I think Donnie is very capable, and it was nice to see him using some wit to kind of find the failsafe on Metalhead. I don't exactly like the way that it went about it, where he basically kind of was just like, I won't be able to touch him anyway, and then Savante, who's been known to just enjoy the lopsided fight, it's like, I'll even it out this time. Why? So there's definitely some inconsistencies here from what we've seen so far. So at this point, I would say that this book is somewhere around a 6 out of 10, just because it's got some real big inconsistencies here. A lot that doesn't make sense. I enjoy it overall, but yeah, this one is definitely hurting something fierce. Now, it was pretty cool to see the other Dimension Turtles, even though I don't like that Donatello. I really just don't like anything about him. His design, his behavior, nothing. He was just very much kind of prickish. You know, he looks at Metalhead and he was like, he's not like mine, but, you know, I guess it's all right. And I'm just like, okay. That's just like one of those modern day tropes where the new thing has to tear down the old thing to make the new thing seem better. And I don't appreciate that in any way, shape, or form. So, yeah, he's not winning me over. I'm not liking that one at all. Everybody else seemed in line with their characters the way I understand it. I've only read like an issue or two of the Adventures series. That's one I still have to catch up on. So, but from what I gathered, Raph seemed pretty much in line with what I know from that series. So maybe I'm wrong on that one, but I'm basing it more off of the Leonardo from the 03 cartoon series. That one seemed spot on, and from what I understand with Raph, he seemed pretty spot on too. So then by extension, I think that Donatello is accurate as well. And man, that's really a shame because I don't like him. But yeah, 6 out of 10. Still, I would say 7 out of 10 series so far. It's worth checking out if you just want to kind of watch all the fights take place and how things are going. But like I said before, it's largely not consequential. So I doubt that any of this will even be noted in the mainline series going forward, even though we're working with the mainline Turtles. But yeah, could be fun. Check it out if this sounds like something you want to, if you think you're even moderately interested in. I don't feel like I've wasted my time. So that's about as much as I can say. Like I said, 7 out of 10 series. It's not spectacular, but it's above mid. So. But that is all I have for today, guys. So until next time, take care and God bless.